Hi, it's Darren Epic. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Just so you know, we would love your feedback, opinion, comments below. If you like the video, please like it. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. Today we're gonna give you the step-by-step process to invest in real estate. It's a 10-step process, and our hopes is to help you understand how to start investing in real estate. And also to give you a little bit of feedback or reassurance, if you will, for quality purposes. I'm a luxury realtor with Sotheby's on Sunset in West Hollywood. We work with investors all the time, and we even do an investor worksheet. We're here to help investors, buyers make smart decisions. So here we go. Step number 1, build your credit. If you don't have great credit, the odds of getting a really solid loan with a great interest rate is very unlikely. I mean, first and foremost, you need to get your finances in line and make sure your credit is solid. The higher your credit, the lower your interest rates, so the better your loan is. So do yourself a favor, before you can do anything at all, before you even consult with a realtor, or you can consult with a realtor and get a referral to a lender, get consulted by a lender, have them help you with financing, get an idea of what your plan is, because based off of like what your credit is, your income, certain boxes, they'll be able to line you up to make you better prepared for when you're ready to buy. I'm doing that right now, even with clients, even months away from getting ready to buy. They're speaking to my lenders to get an idea of what they need to do to be ready to go. So step number 1, build your credit, get your finances in line. Step 2, save your money. You need money to invest in real estate. Good credit as well, but you need money to put down 10 to 20% on average to buy real estate. So if it's $1 million property, $100,000 minimum. If it's 20%, that's $200,000 for a $1 million property. That's generally speaking, often in LA, $1 million property is pretty consistent what the property will cost. So $100,000 to $200,000, that is what you need. For getting loan purposes, Guaranteed Paycheck helps. I do have a great lender for guaranteed paychecks, salaried employees, freelancers, gig workers, etc. Very creative solutions for, from a lender perspective for my clients. But you gotta have a good income and money saved to buy property anywhere really, but especially in Los Angeles. Step number 3, proof of income. In a perfect world, lenders want to see consistency when it comes to income, 1 to 2 years of history depending. Self-employed, they usually take an average of 2 years. In Los Angeles, we have a lot of self-employed gig workers, freelancers, so a lot of times they have to do 2 years. If you're a salary employee, they say they can do 2 months of bank statements and 30 days of pay stubs for salary, and that's all they need. If you're a salaried employee, it's a lot easier for you to get a loan. It's just the reality. Net income. Lenders look at this. So the more you write off, it lowers your net income average. So it can hinder you. Even though you're getting more back in taxes, it can hinder your average when it comes to net income, and that can decrease your loan budget or decrease your chances of getting a loan. My suggestion is speak to a lender and have them review everything, and that is the most important process. But if you're a salaried employee, odds are you have a better chance of getting a loan pretty straightforward. If you're a self-employed gig worker, freelancer, what have you, they're gonna take an average over 2 years. This shouldn't deter you, it just should be the reality that you have to keep in mind. So this is just for informational purposes. Salaried employees better off 9 times out of 10, but doesn't mean that people don't get loans every day that are gig workers, freelancers, self-employed. They do. It's just a little bit different boxes have to be checked off. Step number 4, which is probably the most important step of all. You can have a realtor like me or anyone, guide you, but ultimately you have to get pre-qualified by a lender. Many sellers and their agents won't actually work with buyers that aren't pre-approved or have proof of funds yet. Over the last year, I noticed many times they wouldn't do appointments unless they showed pre-approval or proof of funds. There are open houses again, so if you're trying to do research or shop around as a buyer without an agent even, or with an agent, you can go to open houses. But a lot of times for appointments now, they still want pre-approval and proof of funds. And the most important thing you can do is, instead of wasting your time or anyone else's time, you should get pre-approved to know what your budget is so you know what you're shopping for. You may think you have $1 million budget, you might not. It might be $800,000. You may think you have $1 million budget, it might be $1.5 million, because maybe you've never been through this process before. But lenders can do some pretty crazy, amazing things with income, credit, down payment to figure out budgets. It's important to have a budget in mind, get pre-qualified, pre-approved before you even start shopping. It's the most important part, because what if you find the place you love and you can't pull the trigger? You're gonna always think about that place. So this is important. What the lender will need to help you get pre-qualified, pre-approved is tax returns, bank statements, and FYI, you can shop rates. If you're doing mortgage pulls or trying to get an idea of what your best rates are from different lenders and you want to shop a couple different lenders around, it's not going to ding your credit. All you have to do is make sure within 30 days, let's say you do 3 to 5 different lenders and you want to get an idea of what their rates are and what the mortgage will be for you. Just have them pull your mortgage within 30 days of each other. So like day 1 is one lender, day 3, day 5, day 7, up to 30 days. Credit-wise, credit score dings-wise, it will only ding your credit once. It's considered like one inquiry if it's within 30 days. So you can shop rates. They actually want you to. If it's a auto loan or something else, it will ding your credit differently. But if it's just a mortgage loan, it's considered one, so you can literally do it as many as you want to a certain extent within 30 days and you're good to go. So that should help, and you know the docs that you need. That's the most important part, is getting pre-qualified, pre-approved by a lender in order to buy a property. Step number 5, do your research. See homes, go to open houses, look for areas of opportunity. Gentrifying. I mean, this is where the money's made. There's always an area of opportunity in major cities, especially in LA. Right now, personally, if you ask me, it's between Culver City and Inglewood, or Inglewood in between Culver City and Inglewood. Everything around Inglewood is happening. I mean, you got SoFi, you got Intuit Dome, you have the Olympics, you have the Super Bowl coming up, and you still have an area and a city that wants to thrive. So anything around there, surrounding it, northwest, east of it, all the way up to Culver City, is areas of opportunity. As an investor, someone who's trying to make a buck, who's trying to get a rental income property, or a duplex, triplex, fourplex. I mean, these are where investors are flocking. When you're looking for these areas of opportunity, think about, announcements, do research, look for, is there a new shopping center, new hotels, retail, restaurants. I mean, I always say Whole Foods. Whole Foods is a great one. Is a Whole Foods going in somewhere? And if a Whole Foods going in somewhere, odds are they believe the area is going to get better or more income, because Whole Foods is expensive. So it's a great indicator. When you're looking for a property, look for a property that has upside, meaning but not too much work. Undervalued property that may need cosmetic love done. Yard, kitchen, bathroom, or just a paint job. Something a contractor can do easily. That is the kind of properties that you want to look for. Those are the properties that people skim over. They're not turnkey. Those are the kind of properties that you need to dig in, find that are in areas of opportunity in your city that are going to make you money and turn into easy rental income by just doing a few cosmetic things. So there's your tricks of the trade. Step number 6, have offers. I mean, shit. Do multiple offers. Do 10 offers, 100 offers until you find the right property. If you feel comfortable doing a low offer, that's fine. You may not get it, but if that's the number you want to justify the ROI or eventually the income, do it. What do you have to lose? But realize that you may not always get it, because it may take 15 offers like that to get the one. You gotta make offers, have patience, don't lose a good deal. If you want something, you think it's a good deal, go for it. Don't think about it, just do it. And don't get caught up emotionally. When you're making offers on properties, a lot of people get caught up emotionally, and the reality is it's a business transaction. If you lose it, there's always another one. So just move on. Just don't get caught up emotionally. It's for the best. Don't be stubborn, and don't have any ego involved. Just because a property is valued or listed at a certain value and you think it's not, don't have any ego. Don't be stubborn. If you think you want to go for it and try to get it, because a good property at the right price only happens once in a while. If you think you're going to wait and find a unicorn or something that's favored towards you, especially in a seller's market, I mean, no offense, good luck. It's just not going to happen. Unicorn property almost never happens. For every time that someone is waiting for the unicorn property or thinks, I don't know, it's a good price, but it's not a great price for me, you skip on that property, odds are, and I've seen many clients do it in the last 2 years, they're waiting again, and a year goes by and especially in the last year, 25% increase in appreciation and value. Now they're like, oh shit, I should have bought at $850. Now the same property is $1 million to $1.1 million. Honestly, in the nicest way possible, like they feel like, oh my God, I missed the boat. They kind of did. Now they have to pay again. Just like stocks. You think it's $10 a share. A year later, it's $25 a share. So sorry, you missed the boat, but you're gonna pay for it. So if you think it's a good deal at the time and you're wanting to make an investment, just pull the trigger, go for it. We do use, for smart investors or people that are really serious about things and they want us to number crunch, we do have an investment worksheet. I'll share a screen image of it here in a second, but it kind of breaks down cap rates, gross income, a little bit of ROI, but that's pretty straightforward. But depending on what you put down, etc., this is more for multifamily, but the investor worksheet is great for investors, real investors. Your new beginning investors, you're just looking for usually a single family home that you can rent out and make a certain rental income. If you're smart though and get savvy into investment properties, you're gonna wanna get into triplexes, fourplexes, diversify your rental incomes, so you always have money coming in to cover the mortgage, or if not so, more cash flow, because more rental income diversifies and helps you grow your business and appreciation, as well as gives you more cash flow and guaranteed. Because single family homes, from a rental income standpoint, if you have 100% vacancy, which is the house is not rented, you're covering the nut yourself. But if you have three doors, you have more diversity to cover the nut every month, regardless of if it's covering the mortgage on one. So it's better. Step number 7, inspections. Any buyer, any investor, when they go through, get their offer accepted, we highly recommend that they get as many inspections done as possible. This is to understand if there's any big major issues with the house, but also gives you an idea of what you're walking into. So it's a good investment to hire general inspections, certain different inspections throughout the house. You go off the general inspection to get an idea of what you may need, and then you hire, other like electrical, plumbing, roofing, foundation, depending on what the house needs, what is recommended after the general inspection, to get an idea of what you're dealing with. Because if you're an investor, you want a house that is pretty solid and maybe need cosmetic. And because we talked about earlier, you want a house that is an investment that just needs cosmetic work. You don't want to deal with foundation, because that can be anywhere between $8,000 to $35,000, depending on what I've seen so far. Roofing can be, $5 to $20 grand. Plumbing can be $5 to $15, $20 grand. Electrical can be $5 to $15, $20 grand. So really, you just want a house that is solid, that just needs cosmetic, paint, yard, little things, tile, this, that. Like you just want to make sure that it's a good investment. So it's worth every penny to get great inspections done. Another trick of the trade is getting contractors to come in during the inspection period, so you can get an idea, get a free bid. So it might save you some money. Another great thing about doing inspections is when you're doing inspections, you can use this time to get information and price tags or estimates for negotiation. So you can get a request for repairs, as we call it. So if you find there's things that you didn't know that were hidden, a lot of times it's more like plumbing, foundation, etc., you can use this to put a request for repairs negotiation towards your closing, or a credit towards your closing costs. So for example, you find that there's something that is like $5,000 and $5,000, that's $10,000, and you end up getting the seller to pay for $6,000 or $8,000 during negotiation. That goes towards your closing costs or credit towards your overall. So it's like free money to you to put towards these repairs that need to be done, because, and this is quite common in older homes. New builds, not so much, but it does happen. But request for repairs is a step in the process during inspections for negotiations, and it can help you save some money if you do your due diligence. And I highly recommend that you get as many inspections as possible. This also, during the inspections, it helps you understand your ROI, what your ROI could be. So it's a great process. It does cost a little time and money, but it's definitely part of the process that you have to do. It's very important. Step number 8 is pretty straightforward. It's close your deal. Your lender is going to request you to sign a number of documents. Your appraisal's been ordered. You probably got it back by now. It can be pretty quickly in today's market because it's a seller's market. Even recently, we did a 10-day appraisal, 10-day loan contingency, 10-day inspection contingency to close the deal in the valley. Depending on what the market's at, that can fluctuate. You're going to sign a lot of docs. you're closing your deal. I mean, it's a lot of documents between escrow and the lender. The windows for your loan, appraisal, and inspections has to be quick in today's market to be competitive or to beat out developers, investors, and cash offers. That's just a reality. That's what you need to do to be competitive and to win. And generally speaking, most escrows do take about 30 days. Usually in every contract I've ever wrote, it's a 30-day escrow. You can do it faster, but for some reason, it always ends up being 30 days. Step number 9, start renovations. You've closed on the property, you've done the inspections, everything's great. Now onto the fun stuff, which is renovations. You've bought an undervalued property, you bought it in an area that's gonna go up in value. You can add the most equity by remodeling. You've already done all these steps. So now you gotta add equity by remodeling. The more the home is worth, the more the rental income. The major step in remodeling is how do you find the right contractor? Well, word of mouth is important. You should ask your realtor preferred vendors. Every deal I've ever done, I give them a laundry list of vendors. I give them my 1 to 2, and then they go from there. Also, you can find them on Yelp. I highly recommend that you get 2 or 3 bids per vendor based on what they do and specialize in. These are important things to do. Just because I'm a realtor and I give you a vendor for a contractor for the roof or this or that or painting, doesn't mean you shouldn't actually seek out another option. You should see what they have to say. Just because they're referred to you doesn't always mean they're the best in terms of price and cost. They could be great for you in terms of overall job and execution, but you should vet out at least 2 or 3 options for each contractor. Also, when you're doing this, just because you have a budget of, let's say, we always say to fix a place, it's $100 a square foot. Let's say it's $100,000 over time, or let's say it's $5,000 to paint your house. Anything you do, contract-wise, plumbing, kitchen, bathroom, anything, just put in your head an extra 15 to 20%. It'll help save you sleep at night, keep you at ease. So if you're getting a bid for, let's say, $50,000 for everything to make it right, just tack on another 15, 20%. So another 10% is 5,000. So another 20% is 20,000. So if the original quote is $50,000, it's gonna be $70,000. It'll gonna help you sleep at night knowing that this is what it's probably gonna be, because there's so many variables. Time, crew, materials, especially materials right now, we're in a shortage and everything's inflated. So they can't really come up with a fair price. It's an inflated price, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, but that's the reality of it. So just put that number in your head, 15, 20% buffer. I call it a contingency, if you will. That's what you need to do when you're doing renovations. You gotta keep in mind that you're not gonna save money, it's gonna cost you money. Step number 10, finding a tenant. You have a rental property, investment property, finding a tenant is the next step. Now, if you're smart, you might buy a property that already has tenants paying in a multifamily, duplex, triplex, fourplex, close to market rent. So then you're good to go, and that's why you made the smart decision to buy a property that was already, occupied. But if you're finding an investment property that is not occupied and you're renovating it to get it up to market rate, finding a tenant's an important process because that's how you pay and cover your monthly nut. If you're $2,000, $2,500 a month below monthly rent, I would say Craigslist will work great for you. Even in LA, Craigslist is great. It works great for everyone. If you're going above $2,500 a month, I would say you should use a realtor, have them listed on MLS. It'll hit all the websites, spread wide and deep, and they'll take care of everything for you. In LA, a realtor doesn't get paid a lot of commission on helping you lease a property. It's more a relationship thing, and they'll take all the weight off your shoulders and actually help you get the best possible rate, market it, photo, price it, etc. Everything to help promote it and get you the best price possible depending on what the market is telling them. And they have the experience, so it's the smartest thing to do anyways if it's over a certain price point. And keeping in mind, if you're gonna do it yourself and list it on Craigslist, understand how to price it smartly using comps, market it properly, and use good photographs. The better you market it as an owner, user to get a rental or a tenant, the higher price you're probably gonna get. The better it looks, the better it's worded, advertised, etc. Is the higher price you're gonna get. So that's what a realtor do for you at a certain point. I don't think you need to use them unless it's at least $2,500 a month, because you could probably do it yourself, but that's case by case depending on the market. Also, keep in mind, in today's marketplace, please be smart about the tenants that you take on or approve their application. You definitely want someone with great credit. You definitely want someone with good solid income, and you 100% want to check the references, because you definitely don't want a tenant that has, there's people that are pulling some shady shit right now. So definitely be aware of that. So when you're finding a tenant, make sure it's a solid tenant. Just because they're willing to pay the monthly rent, and maybe say you're looking for a while and it's not working out, and I've heard about this happening, make sure it's a great tenant, because you don't want to backfire if someone moves in your place and they just squat and don't pay rent. That's a nightmare that I've heard stories about. You just do not want that to happen. So make sure you screen the tenant thoroughly. If you're an owner and not using an agent, just make sure you screen them thoroughly. Final thoughts, real simple. If you found my 10 step-by-step process investing in real estate useful, please like the video, please subscribe, please comment, and until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. In the words of Jerry Springer, thank you so much. Take care.